Hello my motor enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the world of a rising star in Formula One, Oscar Piastri.
Oh, Oscar Piastri. Isn't he the one who started driving remote control cars before moving on to karting?
That's right, William. He's not just about speed on the track, he's also quite the character of it. Describes himself as relaxed, calculating, and chilled.
A cool mix for a modern F1 driver. Has he mentioned any of his idols or influences in the sport?
Indeed, he's quite upfront about admiring the likes of Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher. Imagine a dinner party with them and Zach Brown as guests.
That would be something. I heard he's also got a bit of a musical side. Did he say anything about forming a band with other drivers?
Absolutely, William. Picture this, Charles Leclerc on the piano, Yuki Tsunoda banging the drums, and Lewis Hamilton taking on the vocals.
That's a supergroup waiting to happen. And what about his aspirations in F1? Any big dreams?
He's set his sights high, aiming to clinch a world championship in the next 5 years. Quite ambitious.
And rightly so. It's that kind of determination that turns good drivers into great ones. Let's unpack more about Piastri's journey and his life in and out of the paddock.
Hello my motor enthusiasts. This is Enzo, your host at F1 Motor Fever podcast.
And I'm William, delighted to be here.
Today, you're joined by William Turner as we delve into the fascinating world of Formula One. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with all our episodes.
Absolutely, don't miss out.
Right, let's put the pedal to the metal. Moving on to a rather interesting aspect of Oscar Piastri's journey, his early fascination with motors wasn't limited to the Formula One tracks. Interestingly, around the tender age of 6, Piastri was racing remote control cars.
Remote control cars, you say? That's quite an unconventional start for a future F1 driver.
Indeed, and it seems his passion for racing was kindled regardless of the weather. He recalls a particular rainy day when an RC car race was cancelled, which led him and his father to visit an indoor karting track instead. That was his first real taste of driving something more tangible than a remote control car.
So, it essentially reined him into karting. How poetic. And did he mention anything about his driving test experiences?
Yes, he actually passed his driving test on his first go, which he jokingly suggests should be the norm for a racing driver. However, it wasn't completely smooth sailing, he did have to correct himself during parallel parking, which is a bit humbling, isn't it?
Absolutely, shows that even future stars have their learning curves. Did he share any of his broader aspirations, maybe something out of this world?
Quite literally out of this world, because Piastri also mentioned a rather unique dream job for a day, being an astronaut and heading to the moon. It's fascinating how his interests span not just the breadth of the racing world, but also shoot for the stars.
That's an impressive range of interests. From minute remote control cars to the vast expanse of space. It looks like Piastri isn't just racing on the tracks, he's racing towards a very dynamic and ambitious future.
His journey reminds us that the path to Formula One can be as varied and intriguing as the personalities it attracts. Let's delve deeper into his career and see what other surprises he has in store for us. Diving deeper into the personal side of Oscar Piastri, he shared quite a bit about his relationships within the paddock. He considers Logan Sargent as his closest friend, noting their long history and mutual experiences in Formula 3.
That's quite a bond, considering the competitive nature of motorsport. It's good to see friendships flourish amidst the fierce racing.
Certainly, and it's intriguing to hear him speak about forming stronger ties with Lando Norris as well. On a lighter note, Piastri also mused about who he'd invite to a dream dinner party. Any guesses who made the list?
With his admiration for legends, I'd imagine some of the greats.
Spot on. Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher were his top choices. Interesting how he included Zach Brown in the mix, seemingly for some light-hearted banter.
Quite a dinner that would be. And speaking of dream teams, Piastri didn't shy away from picking himself alongside Senna with Andrea Stella as the team boss. That's some team.
It's a bold choice, reflective of his confidence. Moving to a more whimsical topic, Piastri imagined forming a Formula One band. He thought of Charles Leclerc on the piano, given his musical skills, and Danny Ricciardo, who he believes might be a secret guitar hero.
And who did he picture on drums?
That would be Yuki Tsunoda. As for the singer, he opted for Lewis Hamilton, who has shown his vocal talents before. However, he was stumped for a band name. Any ideas what they could be called?
That's a tough one. Perhaps something that captures their speedy nature and musical endeavor. Pit stop tunes, maybe.
That's a catchy name indeed. It's always refreshing to see the lighter, more creative sides of these drivers. It gives a whole new dimension to their personalities, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it shows they are not just about speed and races, but also have varied and interesting off-track lives.
Oscar Piastri's not just a formidable driver, but quite the food enthusiast as well. When asked about his ultimate meal, he opted for a spread that starts with prosciutto and mozzarella, followed by pen bolognese, and capped off with a chocolate fondant or soufflé for dessert. And to drink? A simple glass of Sprite.
That does sound delicious. It seems he has quite a palate. Did he mention anything about his culinary adventures while traveling for races?
Indeed, he did. He enjoys exploring the culinary diversities of the places he visits. Japanese, Chinese, Mexican, and particularly Italian cuisines are among his favorites. He appreciates the global food scene, especially the high standard of what he describes as Australian cuisine, a mix of everything.
Fascinating how he blends the love of food with his travels. Shifting a bit, did he share any nuggets of wisdom, perhaps the best advice he's received?
Quite straightforward yet profound, keep it simple, stupid. A reminder he values for its straightforwardness and often underappreciated depth. On the flip side, he joked that the worst advice might be aggressively sending it into turn 1.
Simplicity often leads to brilliance, doesn't it? Now, what about gifts from fans? Anything unusual?
Unusual yet endearing, he received a doll of himself from a fan in Japan. While unexpected and a bit strange, he found it quite cool, though he admitted the resemblance was only close-ish.
That must have been quite a surprise. And if he could choose another profession just for a day, what would it be?
He'd choose to be an astronaut. The idea of a quick trip to the moon and back appeals to him, especially as it cuts out the extensive travel, something he's already too familiar with as an F1 driver.
Quite the imaginative leap from the racetrack to lunar landscapes. Now, reflecting on his career thus far, did he mention a moment he's particularly proud of?
His proudest moment so far is winning the sprint race in Qatar. He described that as an overall fantastic weekend, clearly a highlight in his burgeoning career.
It's impressive seeing his humbleness and ambitious spirit. With such experiences and aspirations, what advice does he offer to newcomers in the sport?
Well, let's delve into that next and find out what insights he shares for those just starting their engines in the world of Formula One. Wrapping up our discussion on Oscar Piastri's insights, he offers some valuable advice to those new to the sport. Firstly, the importance of enjoying the journey, emphasizing that if they don't find joy in the beginning, it's unlikely they will towards the end.
A poignant reminder that passion is key. And his second piece of advice:
always keep learning. Piastri underlines that no driver, lap, or car is perfect. The goal is to continually strive towards that perfection, however elusive.
That's sound advice, constantly evolving and improving. Looking ahead, he was asked about his goals for the next 5 years, wasn't he?
Yes, quite ambitiously, he laughed off the idea of matching Daniel Ricciardo's relaxed future plans of a farm life. Piastri hopes to secure at least one world championship and clearly intends to remain in the thick of Formula One action.
Ambitious indeed, but with his talent, not beyond reach. It's interesting to see the contrast in life goals between him and Ricciardo, reflecting their different stages and mindsets within their careers.
True, it's these personal insights that add so much depth to our understanding of these athletes, beyond just their performance on the track. Now, as we look forward to the upcoming races and developments in Formula One, what are some storylines that are catching your eye?
Well, the upcoming Spanish Grand Prix is promising some intriguing developments. Red Bull's dominance on their home turf is something to watch, especially with Verstappen at the helm. And then there's the buzz around Mercedes possibly gaining ground.
Exciting times ahead in the world of Formula One. We'll be keeping a close eye on these developments and more. But for now, let's take a short break before we dive into more about what's happening around the circuits. Stay tuned. William Turner, fancy taking a gander at what's buzzing online about the latest in Formula One?
Absolutely. So, here's the scoop. Arato reports on Autosport that Max Verstappen reckons the planned 30-kilogram reduction in Formula One car weights by 2026 should be at least 100 to 150 kilograms instead. He finds the 30-kilogram drop insufficient.
That's quite a shortfall he's pointing out. What's the word from the racing community?
Well, Tom Lyrical mentions, quote, when you realize that minus 30 kilograms is still heavier than the pre-2022 regulations. Yeah, the cars will still be massive, unquote. And Mario Tekken adds that this includes a reduction in the weight of tires.
Interesting, and what are the reactions to this tire weight mention?
User PK comments that the tires aren't the real weight issue, it's the rims and the rest of the car that have bulked up. And he quips about the FIA's regulations, suggesting that some real masterminds are at work.
Sounds like there's a bit of sarcasm there. Any thoughts on who's influencing these decisions?
Indeed, there's some debate about that. For instance, Ego Foodie wonders how much of these changes are a result of the teams pushing back. Tominel from the thread suggests that teams often react by either threatening to leave or nudging the regulations to benefit their own agendas.
Quite the political game then. But it's not all heavy stuff, is it? Any lighter comments?
Pun intended? On the lighter side, Lady Maya suggests setting the minimum weight much lower to encourage teams to innovate within strict safety tests. Louis I, however, reminisces about the days when cars weighed as little as 690 kilograms back in 2014.
Nostalgia mixed with innovation. Always a potent mix in Formula One.
And to stir the pot further, user Adventurous Dress suggests that with today's budget caps, there might be no need for a minimum weight at all. But Wrong Dog warns that such open rule sets might lead to boredom if one team discovers an unbeatable technical advantage.
A fair point, balance is key in competition. Well, thanks for that roundup, William. It's clear the F1 community never runs out of fuel when it comes to opinions.
That they do not. Always something stirring in the world of motorsports.
Thanks for tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast today. We've had a riveting discussion about the intricacies of Formula One car weights and the future aspirations of some of the sport's brightest stars. Your company has been invaluable. Remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment and share our podcast with friends and fellow F1 enthusiasts.
And if you thought today's chat was engaging, just wait till what we've got lined up. Though I can't spill the beans just yet, believe me, it's worth keeping your notifications on. We're here stirring the pot daily, bringing you the freshest takes right off the track.
It's been a pleasure discussing today's hot topics with you, and we're already gearing up for the next episode. We can't wait to have you with us again.
Absolutely, and remember, whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, there's always something intriguing on the horizon here at F1 Motor Fever Podcast.
Pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold. Thanks again, and see you next time.